From the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications, your home for complete Marshall University news. You're watching MU Report.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for this fifth fall edition of MU Report 2018. I'm Denai Belai.
And I'm Sean Lashley. We are a student-produced newscast of the W. Page Pitt School of Journalism and Mass Communications at Marshall University. We air this broadcast not only on West Virginia Public Broadcasting, but also Network West Virginia and YouTube. Now, on to our top story. For some time now, MU Report has stressed the connection between fall enrollment and the school's financial health. Now, Marshall is reporting a slight increase in enrollment to the Board of Governors. The official number is 13,178, up about 1% from last year. President Jerry Gilbert says that increase can be traced back to success in what's called the dual credit program. Dual credit and online offerings are attracting more students who take college courses while they're still in high school. Dr. Gilbert says freshman enrollment, the incoming class, is actually slightly down.
Even though U.S. President Trump makes frequent campaign visits, his latest to West Virginia came at a tense time for the state and the country. Trump stopped in Huntington before the midterm to support Republican Senate candidate Patrick Morrisey. His efforts were unsuccessful as Joe Manchin was reelected, but that outcome wasn't apparent at the event.
I'm okay. But I'm thrilled to be back in this great state. I love this state. With thousands of hardworking American patriots. And what job numbers we had today. Did you hear?
It's West Virginia's election year and a crucial time in American politics. President Donald Trump has made a stop in Huntington during his campaign trail. So what does that mean for West Virginia voters?
I'm just trying to encourage people to come out and vote in this election so we can turn this around and the Republicans can stay ahead.
The election, of course, was a big event in our state's history and also our nation's history. It was unprecedented, as you know. And I have a son, and I think our country, my son, needs a better future.
Endorsing Republican candidates Patrick Morrisey and Carol Miller, President Trump's visit came soon before Election Day in an attempt to affect the polls.
I think he needs to focus on not just the immigration issues, but also how well the economy's doing. The numbers are great, and we need to push to get Morrisey in and not elect Joe Manchin.
We believe in his platform here, especially in our area. It's a coal area, an area that's been depressed. Eastern Kentucky and West Virginia, the Appalachia area. We feel like he's a friend of this area.
West Virginian voters decided who will occupy seats in the U.S. Senate, U.S. House, the legislature, and the state Supreme Court. There were also 2 amendments on the ballot.
And that recent hotly contested midterm did not disappoint in terms of generating excitement. The outcome also changed the nature of Congress going forward for the next 2 years of Donald Trump's presidency. And an increasingly important voting bloc, college students, took advantage of early voting in case they couldn't on Election Day. Arriving just after multiple instances of political violence and terrorism, 2018's midterm elections are a pivotal moment for our country, which is why getting students to vote is more important now than ever.
If we could get young people to come out in large numbers, it could really affect the outcomes of elections in the state.
The Memorial Student Center hosted an early voting precinct and had student volunteers encouraging passers-by to do their civic duty.
So I'm the parliamentarian of the Student Government Association here on Marshall's campus, and some of our advisors teamed up with Pastor Watts in Charleston to encourage voter registration and voting on college campuses, because they are some of the smallest portion of the population that, as far as voting goes, they just don't vote as much as the older people.
I voted early because it's important to do your civic duty for this country and be able to help shape what the country will look like in the future, and not to mention having a convenient location right here on campus really helped out a lot too. It's right across the hall from my office, and I was able to get in and do my civic duty.
It takes less than 10 minutes to vote. If you can find where to vote in your communities, or if you want to request your absentee ballot, it's as easy as hopping on Google, Googling your state, absentee ballot request, and it's just a very simple way to hope that your voice is heard and you have an impact on our government.
Some sources say they were unsure of where or when they could vote and were relieved by the assistance. This election, like others, is an important one, which is why it's crucial for students, no matter their political affiliation, to make their voices heard. Many states have tried to cut back on chances to vote, including shortening early voting windows and purging registration rolls. Supporters call it tightening an important right, while detractors call it voter suppression.
Many Marshall Residence Hall students naturally sleep at night and prefer to sleep in the morning when they can. But when the fire alarms go off and people hurry outside and there's no fire, they're going to be upset. As Larry Lonstein Jr. reports, this happened again recently, and many residents were angry about it.
Late night studying or other activities are part of the tradition in college. Stay up late at night and sleep well into the morning, even on class days. But the sound of a fire alarm without there being a fire is quite an awakening itself. So when the fire alarms go off, people are going to be quite upset.
My initial reaction was that it was pretty cold outside, and if they had planned this fire alarm, I think they did it a little bit too early because it was really brisk outside, and some people didn't adequately prepare themselves with proper clothing.
I think it woke most of us up, and I feel like most people in the building would have appreciated if there would have been some type of forewarning if it was a drill.
Because we're trying to enjoy a sleep, that's all, before our work and school. Ugh.
Residents are voicing their concerns over why the fire alarms keep going off, causing them to wake up early in the morning.
I've just been wondering if it's regular drills or if there's some sort of issue with the building. I don't really feel like anyone knows for sure.
I mean, I tried to ignore it because I had heard other tests being run, but after it persisted for 15 minutes, I decided it was probably legit, so I got out of my room.
Not only did Marshall University's Housing and Residence Life decline comment on this story, they also objected to its telling. Larry Lonstein Jr., MU Report.
Marshall Housing says they know the alarms are aggravating, but they insist everyone leaves without question, because if someone stays behind, that could be the one time the fire was real.
The Village on 6, an apartment complex popular with Marshall students, is currently undergoing renovations to its units. But to do the remodeling, some students were forced to move to different buildings to clear the area needing work. The problem with that, some students say the condition of their temporary apartment was substandard, and their complaints to management about it were not heard.
Walk in, the place smells super musty. There's dirt everywhere. The floors are gross. There's purple hair dye on the carpet. The bathroom floor is black. The bathtub's molded. It was just disgusting. And it made me really mad because they told me I couldn't move in any earlier because they had to clean when they clearly didn't clean anything.
It's just all ridiculous because we pay a lot of money to live in these apartments, and I feel like that we're not getting the best value for our money. I feel like that I could go down to a different apartment complex down the road with cheaper rates and with better maintenance service.
Administrators of the Village on 6 declined to comment for the story. The remodeling is likely to take at least another year.
Commuter students at Marshall typically have a harder time reaching campus both physically and mentally because they have to count travel time into their busy day. And even though Marshall residence halls are popular and relatively full, Marshall is still primarily a commuter campus. As Ryan Murphy reports, the Office of Advocacy and Success is trying to make the commuter student feel a lot more at home while they're on campus for class.
For some students, commuting to campus can create several roadblocks, such as being late to classes for various travel-related bumps on the road, or even not having the time or ability to be a part of campus events or groups.
I gotta drive to work, I gotta drive home, I gotta drive home to get ready for work instead of just staying here on campus and working it out.
Whether commuters are struggling with not being able to physically reach campus or feeling mentally disconnected from campus life,
After class, I tend to just drive home, but those who live here can stay around and stick around and do the different activities that are present on campus.
Marshall's Office of Advocacy and Success provides resources to try and help curb these stressors. Resources include the Commuter Lounge and the Student Center, events aimed at bringing students together.
So each month we try to do something different. Last week we had a commuter lunch for students where we provided a lunch down in the Commuter Lounge.
And the Commuter Assistant Program, which provides commuters with trained faculty and staff to guide them and help them get connected with campus groups and activities.
We have a Commuter Student Advisory Board, and we meet once a month to talk about resources and events that we can do for commuters. And we really decided that commuters need to understand the activities on campus, but also just the resources like tutoring services and how to get connected to all of those.
Despite these resources being available to students, some say they weren't even aware these resources existed.
I personally haven't had an experience with them because I did not know there were programs like that.
Barbara says efforts are being made to expose more commuters with their available resources.
And we also have a commuter listserv that we have asked students to sign up for so we can make them aware of events, opportunities, and just send out communication saying, if you do need something, please come and see us.
Though commuter students may not be based on campus, Marshall's Office of Advocacy and Success provides several resources to make campus feel like home. Ryan Murphy, MU Report.
The office Ryan was talking about says its biggest obstacle is awareness, meaning many commuters aren't even aware of what's out there to help them.
Let's finish the newscast with transportation, the fun and efficient kind. As college students are busy and in a hurry, it's no wonder Marshall's bike sharing program is gaining momentum. As Olivia Zarilla reports, the bikes are available 24/7, meaning you can now make it to that coffee stop and your lecture with time to spare.
Many college students would agree that extra time to eat, sleep, or cram for a test is always valuable, even if it's just 10 or 15 minutes. That's why Marshall created Rolling Thunder.
The transportation in Huntington really isn't that good around here. Like, we have buses and stuff, but they're not really reliable like they are in bigger cities. And just having a bike around that you can get at any time is really nice for those students.
Any student can rent a bike for up to 2 hours per day for free, and after that, it's only $5 per hour to hold on to it a little longer. All students need to do is download the SoBi app, fill out their information, and ride.
We didn't really feel like walking back to our dorms because we're lazy and we got done studying, so we just came out here and he was like, it's super easy, I did it yesterday, and so we just came over here and got on the app.
It definitely helps because I think you could go like 2 miles off campus with them or something like that, so I mean it's definitely pretty nice if you just want to go back to your apartment real fast and grab something.
Marshall currently has 3 designated locations for the bikes, but regardless of where they're parked on campus, students can always go for a ride by just entering their PIN. And for students who are worried that there won't be a bike left for them, they can be reserved ahead of time.
It's quicker to get around, and it's a lot it's kind of just fun to ride a bike because nobody really rides bikes anymore.
And so you don't have to search for a bike, the app shows users a map of where hubs and bikes outside of hubs are located, as well as the parameters in which they could leave a bike locked without being charged a $25 fee. Olivia Zarilla, MU Report.
The bike service is appropriately called Rolling Thunder, and it's also available for faculty with their Marshall email.
That's all the time we have for this edition of MU Report. Our newscast is completely generated by students in the W. Page Pitts School of Journalism and Mass Communications. MU Report is a television lab, and we're glad you're watching. You can always catch this newscast on YouTube, and be sure to follow our reporters on Twitter and MU Report on Facebook. I'm Danite Belai.
And I'm Sean Lashley. Have a great day.